I was the oldest, so I had a lot of pressure on me. I was a very good kid and I got good grades. I played sports. I did everything I was supposed to do. My parents were getting divorced when this is my mom's second divorce, and it was right before I moved out. I just went to college and just kind of just let my hair down, let go of a lot of things I had been holding in, and I got into quite some underage drinking and stuff, but nothing else.
I grew up, kind of had my parents like shared custody, so it was 6 months with my mom, 6 months with my dad, and it was okay, an okay childhood. It wasn't great, but there was no church. There was, I'd go a little bit with my grandma, but it was here or there. Got into high school, and I was always, a funnier guy, but I was never real popular. So, I started hanging out with some of them kind of kids and started drinking a little bit, and then that went to marijuana, and just eventually got into painkillers, and Oxycontin was one that I had a problem with, and I had a problem with that for quite a few years. It was just, that was all I worried about, and just, I'd gotten some trouble with the law and had to go to jail, and that was, I think I did 3 months in jail, and then had to go to rehab for almost another 3 months, right after that.
I met Chris right after I turned 19, instant connection, and kind of fell for him hard. We ended up, getting pregnant right away. I barely knew him, and I was about to have a baby with him. So it got adult real quick.
So as we were progressing in our relationship, I'm progressing in my addiction too, and she didn't know.
It was my baby, and I just wanted more. And so I obviously got more right with God, and, encouraged Chris to do the same, and we just kind of went from there. But I was still in my own bubble at the time, not knowing what was going to happen.
Eventually they had a drug test at work, a random drug test, and I failed it. I called her and told her, and
he ended up getting let go because of it. And I mean, obviously at this time I was like, what did you fail? What part? Kind of thinking. And then he came home and explained it all to me, very, in as the best way. I was new to all of this. This was totally something I never would have thought would have happened. It made sense after finding out, money issues and, behavior issues and stuff. It definitely started to piece together why certain things were happening and stuff. But at this time, I just, I was completely blindsided.
I mean, there was nights I remember where I would sleep half the night on the floor and half the night on the bed because I was withdrawing so bad. And I just would tell her, I'm sick. I just don't feel good. I don't know what's going on. And I knew. I'd been through it before, but to tell her, it was just, that was not a fun situation. There was a lot of anxiety because I didn't know what she was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to do if she had left. She's carrying her child, and that was a pretty scary time.
I do remember praying quite a bit and stuff, and just thinking if I could just make it through this and get through this, we would be fine. Once the baby's here, everything will just fall into place. And obviously it didn't. Babies don't solve everything. And we just, realized at that time that we wanted to get married. We got married when Ella was 6 months old.
I finally got back into school. So while I'm in school, she got pregnant with Everett. We got pregnant with Everett. And, I just ran into some of the wrong people. She kind of, pressured me to get off of the medicine. And, I thought I was ready too, so I was going along with it. And
he ended up relapsing when, a few months after our son was born. That time I did kick him out, and it was for a week, and I did not let him back in until he started the program again, and, told me that he was gonna change. So, yeah.
You know, I looking back on when I was younger, you know, there's been times where I should have died. You know, I honestly should have died. And, you know, I can't help but look back and go, somebody was watching out for me, you know. Because I wasn't watching out for myself. I didn't care, you know. So that was, you know, that was kind of a thing like, hey, maybe I need to pay a little more attention, you know, look at what's going on around me.
We tried to be close to family members, and we ended up moving in with my dad, my stepdad. And you know, it was the right time. We were, by this time, going to church at the church over in Caledonia. We were there almost every Sunday. You know, life was good. We had family members around. It was the right time to be there. We saved up enough money to buy a house, and we could not get, we went through 3 or 4 different houses, and none of them, we would be ready to close and sign papers, and it just wasn't going to happen. So we were very frustrated, thinking, you know, why is this happening? You know, why aren't we getting these houses right next to our, you know, our parents? And the first house we looked at was, or the first house outside of Kent County was here in Burnups, and it was smooth sailing. It was just almost too easy, too good to be true. Moved here in quite the tight-knit little neighborhood, and kind of fell in love with it. And I just think God really had a plan for us here. We are completely involved in church. We love all our neighbors. I could not be happier in Burnups. I just think LifeChange has really changed our lives, and I don't ever want to move. I hope we always stay here. So
We were at church one day. Ryan Bibb was up preaching, and he had, you know, kind of had everybody have their heads down. You know, we prayed, and he just asked, you know, was there any of you, you know, who feel like you need to ask God into your life, you know, or to have more of God in your life? And I really felt that, you know, I was feeling it where I'm like, why am I always lukewarm with this? You know, I don't like this. I'm tired of being half in, you know, and so I kind of snuck my hand up, and yeah, Brittany felt it, you know, so she knew, but you know, I could hear in Ryan's voice, you know, like I see you, you know, I can see that hand. And it was just, you know, it was something I was just tired of being half in. That's all I can explain it as.
I just think once we moved here and we were around other Christian couples, like there are so many awesome couples in this area and that go to our church, that you just can't not want to have a closer relationship with God. You see their lives, and it's such an impact. And I just, you know, the children they're raising, our kids are, you know, friends with their children, and we're friends with them, and, you know, hosting life group and just being a part of all these people around here that are just right in your backyard. I just don't think you can get any better than that.
Gosh, I'd say he's really blessed me. You know, I feel undeserving sometimes. You know, I've made so many mistakes, you know, and anybody can be redeemed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Is it just anything, you know, it doesn't matter what you've done. If you're trying to be a better person, you know, he's going to be there for you. He's always there. He's going to love you no matter what.
I just think if any other couples out there are having, you know, just life thrown at them, I just think just depending on God more than you think. He is listening. He is there for you. And I just think if you overcome that stuff, I mean, there's some sort of force behind you, and you just kind of take on the world knowing that whatever's thrown at you in the future, you can handle it. And I do feel like that in my life now, that, you know, there's not much that could come between us. So